While we're waiting, do you expect Denise to be joining us?
Denise is here.
Yeah, I see. Okay. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah,
DZ is
Just
my camera.
well, the
is
screen was a little funky when you took control and showed your thing, and then it just shifted back to where I can see everything now.
okay.
Yeah. Well, I didn't raise the program.
I'll mention that Susan was hoping to join us for a bit, but she's going between two other meetings, so she's got 3 meetings tonight, so she probably won't be on camera or participating, but she was going to try to log in in case we had questions.
Okay, that's great. Listen, it's 7:05, so I am declaring us ready to start this. I'm going to call the meeting to order, 7:05, and I'm going to read the Sunshine Law, which says, in compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, notice of the meeting and the agenda were sent to the city clerk, who distributed it to the media and posted it at City Hall. It was also publicized on the city's website and calendar. So that part done. Roll call is no Patrick, no Matt, Glenn, Aaron, me, Josh, and Denise are all here. And we have Charlie Catterville and whoever CB is, City of New Brunswick, no idea. Hasn't identified themselves. So TAC packet, after the fact, this meeting, this month, it was an oddball month because we moved our meetings to the third Monday of the month. And it's just an oddity of this month. Because the third Wednesday is when the TAC packet meeting is. But because of the start of the month, we ended up following them. So this month, so it's, the TAC packet kind of came in, they did it already. But I did meet with the engineer this week, and it was nice to do that. And he would really like us to be weighing in. He said if he says something in the engineering report and we say it, it's twice as good as just him saying it. So, because a lot of times we look at the engineer's report and sort of resonate with it. So it was nice to hear that, we are wanted, at least in some corners.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I don't have anything to say about that 23-story building that's going up. Where is it going up? I forget.
Baird Street.
Is it Baird? Did you go to that meeting? I'm sure you had input on the recycling stuff.
Yeah, I wasn't able to go to the actual TAC meeting, but I submitted my comments of what the recycling and trash requirements were.
Right. So I think this was just a fluke. I will look at the calendar and make sure that there aren't future meetings that have that happen. But in general, I think we're okay. Do you want to jump right into? Do you mind if we jump right into this? And do something? Denise, you're here twice and you're echoing.
Don't know how that. Hello.
Better. Thank you. Okay. Josh, do you mind if we just jump right into the ongoing business, New Brunswick EC web pages? Is that agreeable?
Perfectly fine. I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
All right. So as you know, we've been working on our communication strategy with communication and informing the public being an important part of our mandate as a commission. And one of the things we discussed at the last meeting, that an important way to do that is to streamline our communication strategy, particularly the website, so that it doesn't have redundant information or redundant links. And what is actually on there is a curated version of what we as a commission want to present and provide about the work we're doing. In keeping with that, we've taken the notes that everyone sent and did a mock-up of what we'd like to suggest the changes to the website are. inclusive of, little things like bios from almost everybody at this point. I'm still waiting on 2. And also, maybe a little like something we can discuss tonight is exactly at what level we want to curate information. You'll see when I show you that, there's a number of opportunities to do this, particularly when the information comes from various places, right? There's websites we can link to, and we can provide, lists of those pages that are resources for community members, or we can curate the information and restate it ourselves. But I think as a commission, we can decide at what level and how in depth we want to kind of update those. I think the main goal here is, though, and I'm paraphrasing you, Anne, a little bit, is that we want a website that's fairly self-sustaining, that doesn't need to be updated on a monthly basis, other than, maybe like, adding a picture or something, or, once a year when we have to update the meeting schedule. But this shouldn't be something where the information on it is expiring on a regular basis, right? We want to be cognizant of the amount of time it takes to upkeep it. So I can share a little bit about what we have so far. Pull it up, find where it is. Here we go. And Aaron, am I good to share?
You are now.
Oh, I am now. Thank you. Oh, wait. I have to go to my system preferences because I'm on a Mac. 1 second. There we go. It is saying that if I want to share on GoTo, that I need to allow screen capture on my iMac, and then I need to restart GoToMeetings. So
You want to send me something to share?
I would
Or-
love to
or-
share. I think that's the easiest way to do this.
Yeah, all right. This is not Zoom. Okay.
Yes.
I'm on a Mac too, so I don't actually I don't share things that often.
Oh, really? I guess once you do it once, you've done whatever needs to for your
Never
setting.
needs to be done.
Yes,
Mm.
I think I've shared multiple times from my iPad for meetings, but I don't think I've actually shared from my iMac. So,
Mhm.
all right, and I just sent you the updated sitemap just to show kind of the simple skeletons of what we're looking to do, and then the example pages. That's kind of a mock-up of what we're going for.
Okay.
And I'll take
So,
over of not doing my part. I apologize, my bio. I'll get it to you.
It's
all
really
right, Aaron, you need to make me a sharer, please.
there's been quite enough to be going on with, so I haven't started bugging people for content yet, but I might start in the next month.
Yeah, I owe you content as well. I know I need to update the pollinator garden content, and I need to give you new content for the stormwater thing. And I've just been really swamped. We're leaving on vacation tomorrow, and this is just going to have to wait until I get out the door.
Perfectly okay.
Anyway, so
Hmm.
can people,
Is that as big
can
as it
folks
gets?
see the screen? Do you want me to expand this a little bit?
See it.
There we go. Yeah, if you can zoom in, there we are.
Yeah. Can you
Is
do
that
a little
better?
screen? Better, but
A little
can
bit
you make it
bigger.
full screen?
I
More?
can see.
If you move that that window over to the left all the way, that would, or just click that double box icon in the
Hold
upper
on a
right.
second.
Oh,
I'm
you're
just,
on a Mac?
no, I'm on a
Mm.
PC. You don't
Ah,
need
that's
to
fine.
That looks okay.
I can see it
That's good.
now.
So
there
That
you
good?
go.
yes, there we are.
Yes, beautiful.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Very simply, the highlighted pages here are the only main pages that'll be linked to from that left browser map. And it's basically much more simple than what's there now. Home, meeting information, resources, projects, and events. Anything that is not bolded is a sub page that we can curate or is already available. And then anything that's in green is a document or PDF that's linked to on that page, and anything in blue is a site either on elsewhere on the city site or an external link, maybe in NJAC or New Jersey sites, like things like that. The most built out section is actually the invasive species information, just because the most appropriate and curated information was already available on that. So that was the easiest one to put together as an example. But the idea is that under resources, we could do that with other initiatives and other information as it becomes available. But for the most part, it's much more simple than before. And if you open up actually the other document.
Okay, sure. Just a second.
And what I'll do is I'll send this out to everybody so you have a chance to look through it and provide responses. And also particularly for like your bios, I'd like you to read through them. And Aaron, I know like everyone wanted to kind of read through those before they go on the site. And that's why I figured like we'd get them written and then like you can edit and send me, edits as you see fit. But here's what people will see when they come to the site. Simple welcome message, kind of who we are and what we do. There will be links not only to the list of current commissioners, but also to the bylaws. And that's basically just a PDF document that'll open there. If we scroll down, the next section on this document will be the current commissioners page. And that's really just going to have the little blurbs, the little headlines on each commissioner, when the term expires, roles if you have one, and then going through there. And like I said, you guys will all be able to read through this as we after I send it out.
Right. I think I saw a typo on mine. I'll fix it. Okay.
Yes, please. This was, obviously a lot of stuff that was copied and pasted from different sources and from my own notes. So it's highly likely there not only might be a typo here and there, but also, conjunction errors where you put like something from one section together with something else and then it doesn't make sense in transition.
Yeah, sure.
I've been catching those, but they're hard to find after a while.
I know.
Meeting information, we'll have our meeting schedule, the login for the GoToMeeting, and that information, it'll be simple. We'll maintain the PDF announcement that we have to maintain, but it won't specifically be linked to from this page since it's basically the same information here in HTML format.
Amen.
Yes, so one place to find us, which is a good thing, rather than people going to the wrong link. After this, after meeting information, there will be resources.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Wait a second. Do you want to walk through this? This is
Yes,
different.
sorry, I thought this was there. Also in our meeting information would be the agendas and minutes from previous meetings, and this is where these will be posted. The idea we had based upon the feedback is that the way it's set up on the website right now is a little like messy because it has
you have to expand the year, then find the month, and the agendas and the minutes are separate, and yes, it's
so the idea is
cleaner. It's much cleaner.
Yeah, go to the meeting. Both the agenda and the approved minutes will be there, and we can just have it that way. And this
Right,
is
and
not
then right. Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Am I going too fast? I'm sorry. I can't see
not at
anything
all.
except this because it's full screen. So
This is good. I mean, no, this is good. I generally speak very fast, so it's actually we're limiting each other. It's wonderful.
okay.
But yes, so this is hopefully clearer. And this in general is obviously the closest I could get using Microsoft Word. Obviously, it'll look a little bit different and it'll match the website a little bit better when they put it up.
Right. This
But,
is nice. I like it. I think it's easier to use. I like it a lot.
Well, the one thing I would say is that there has to be consistency across the, my opinion is that there's going to have to be consistency across the website. So this suggestion I particularly like this, but we may have to circulate that information for like the city council and all the other commissions. So I would just make that point.
That's actually a really good point, Denise. And we kind of, or at least I kind of approached it basically taking what was there. And really the changes that we're suggesting are within the confines of what you see in the other pages, but it's quite possible to find something and want us to change it, which is completely okay. The only thing I would really push for is that we don't have like on the left here, it's kind of arbitrary which where it's on the left menu, it's kind of arbitrary on the actual website which sub pages pop up on the little sub menus and the little like scroll over pop-ups. And I find that kind of distracting and not helpful. So I would hope that maybe for ours we could have them just not include those. I don't know if those are mandatory or not, but if you actually, and if you go over to the next tab, the actual City of New Brunswick, the current webpage.
Oh, here, yes, that's here, right?
Yeah, you have it opened up
So-
top.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. So if you scroll over some of these, it's kind of all over the place, and then there's really no.
Yeah, you get this and you get this, and some of them have stuff and some of them don't, and there's a lot of dead stuff. There's
Yeah,
a
so
lot of these really awful,
Yeah,
under
it's not
construction.
the same on each page,
Just
and
so-
that you don't know sometimes how you got someplace. So
Yeah.
I think that's a good navigation consistently is helpful to the public.
Agreed.
Josh,
Agreed.
Yeah.
speaking
That's
of dead stuff,
what's that, Glenn?
Josh, speaking of dead stuff, I'll send you an email. There's a link out here. I use DuckDuckGo. I'm sure most people use Google, but when I just do search City of New Brunswick Environmental Commission, the very first hit that I get is for a link off the city council's site. And it's really outdated. It's from 2021. So if I send you that link, can you get, I spoke with Susan today after Denise did actually, but she was in such a rush. Do you think we can get that one removed? That's the only one I've seen out there that's really wacky.
What I can do is I can add it to our list of like requests.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not
Gotcha.
actively. I'm curating content, but I'm not actively involved in the update of the website, right? Like someone from the city will
No,
do
but you're
that.
the liaison.
I
You're the
can-
liaison, as far as I understand, with Susan. Right, correct. So I'll send you that link.
Most certainly.
Thanks.
All right, and then the other just left. If we scroll down, really all that's left are the resources page, which lists different projects going on. The only one really here that's now the environmental resource inventory, the stormwater master plan, the leaf information sheet, those are all PDFs that will open when they're clicked on. At the bottom, the ANJEC website will open to theirs. The only other subpage we have built on here is the invasive species information. And you can kind of see if you scroll down again, that should be the invasive species page. Here we are. And what I was trying to do is to figure out at what level we want to curate information, right? It doesn't make sense for us to restate things that are on other websites. It makes more sense for us to provide the information and link, but we can obviously introduce the information. So I tried to find that middle ground, and I'd be most interested in hearing from the commission at what level we want to curate and sort of editorialize the information for our site versus, providing the links.
Or maybe a blurb and then the link, something like that.
Yeah.
Right. This is an example of what happens. It's like, wait a second, I was up here and I clicked on this, right?
Mhm.
Right. Okay. And this is not a complete list. This is just for how it would work, right?
Correct.
Because
That
we
was
need
basically
we
an
need
example.
a lot more stuff than this. All right. I mean, quite honestly, invasive species is fine, but it's not the biggest thing on our agenda. So, okay, good.
Exactly. And I think that once we figure out the level of information we want to curate, then we can identify our top priorities to expand and curate the resources link. And that can be something we work on and maybe individual people take on to add that information. But the goal
Yeah,
would
it
be
would
that
be really,
Mm.
I'm gonna make a pitch here, excuse me, Josh, for interjecting, but I would really like it if we could get sort of owners for some of these pages that right now it's not clear who owns them. And as far as I can tell, they are owned by not us. So I think that it would be much better if we owned them, if we controlled what was on them. And I think we need a group effort here, right? So
Yeah, I
think
think-
about what pages you would like to own is what I'd like to, what sections you'd like to own, right? And I can own this one, for example, the pollinator garden, and I need to update this. This is really old, what's here. So
I'll work on
Yes.
invasive species.
okay, good.
I think it's good that we take responsibility and ownership, but in the end, the city will make decisions about, again, it's got to be consistent across. I'm thinking about the Parks and Gardens Commission and similarities or differences. And this looks really nice. So hopefully there's some common ground. And I don't know if the city is working on updates to the website now. So that's also something we should look into, ask about.
Yeah, Denise, are you concerned about the look, appearance, or the information?
I'm more concerned about, well, it's a little bit of both. I think the look and the navigation should be on the guest side, on the visitor side. It should be consistent. You shouldn't be looking at things at multiple levels. Like if we're going to go down 2 levels, that's then that's the guidance that we should get. But in terms of content, there are certain things that are very seasonal or transient, and like the children's learning event, as an example, is 2 years old. Like, how long do you keep some of this stuff there, or do you have past events and just have that be like not so detailed? This could get unmanageable and random. Like, I care about air pollution. Somebody else cares about, animal welfare. I just feel like we may need our own protocol for deciding what to recommend to the city. That's my point. Did that make sense?
Yes, yes. And I think we're on the same page. And I'm going to restate just to make sure that I understand correctly. I mean, we're not going into this demanding that it looks a certain way. I tried to put this in using the same font and the same general page setup as what's happening on the site already. So modeling what the city's already doing, just so we can kind of see it as it might look. But in general, what we're concerned about is the content and owning the content that's under the Environmental Commission. So if it's something that's on the Environmental Commission web pages, it's something we've just as a committee have decided to recommend be put on the website as part of our sort of as part of our mandate through the bylaws of informing the citizens, right?
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, okay.
Josh, has Susan communicated any type of framework that they want you to work with, that they want the website to work within, that's consistent with the city's other sites? Is there?
No,
I think
no.
that's where you're going, right? There's content and there's presentation, right? That's
Yes, but presentation is less important outside of the fact that we want it to be simple and not inundated with a million sort of like circular links, right?
agreed, but I thought Denise was saying that we want to be consistent across different sites under the city's umbrella. No, am I wrong about that?
Yes, but
Well-
they're going. We're not designing the webpage, right?
Correct.
They're going to put this information into the city template. We're not suggesting any
Right.
changes.
Oh, so there is a
color.
template. Okay, that's what I was getting at. So there's a template. That's perfect.
Wait,
That
Let me
answers
take
my
a step back here to make sure we're all understanding each other. We're talking about
question.
content here. We're talking about simplifying the content and making sure that what goes on there are all items that we as a commission have agreed upon and we've curated. And we're not what we don't end up with is a bunch of dead links or old information. We want it to be something that's manageable and something that we can stay on top of, so that way it's informative and helpful. And that is
Right, but it
purely
looks like you've worked. But it looks like you've worked towards structuring this in an efficient and logical way. So, will that structure be maintained once it's formally?
this is entirely based upon the city's site.
Right. That's what I was.
This is what's
yes,
here.
Exactly. That's
Okay,
hang
so
on.
this is what's here, and we're saying get rid of some of this because it's kind of random,
no.
right?
That's fine as long as it's. Yeah. It sounded like the way I interpreted what Denise was saying was that we want to maintain the consistency within the structure that the city has for its website, while maintaining control over the content and working on that. That's I just wanted to make sure that that's where we were headed in our thinking, and that sounds like exactly what we're talking about. Correct?
Yes.
What I was
Okay.
suggesting,
Good. Yes.
whatever we give in terms of content and any suggestions on format, for instance, the agendas and the minutes, that's going to go into whatever the city's structure is. If they like the way it looks,
Right.
maybe they'll change everything, but we're not asking
Right.
them to be inconsistent. I think
Right.
we're making an observation, and it's really more about what the public, how we.
Oh God, look at this.
Right. We don't want to
Woo.
have every department going its own way, kind of like the way Rutgers is.
Well, I
Very
hate to say it, but
decentralized.
look at this.
No
This is,
consistency.
yeah, this is, I didn't realize it, but this is, we have all these other pages. Like this is the city council page, and you look at meeting minutes and we're on here, right?
That's
So
what I
they're
was
gonna
saying
have to,
before. The
right?
city council has links to us, and it's way off.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Oh, I never noticed that.
Yeah, me neither.
I brought it up
I'm
last
just looking
meeting.
at it now. But I mean, if you look at this, it's like council meeting and agendas and minutes. And then it has everybody else's on here from 4 years ago. I don't know what,
That's what I was
on
talking
some
about.
level, we can't solve world hunger. Let's try and
No, but we
let's
do want
try
to
and
remove
keep
this
our
information.
own pages in order, is what I'd like to.
No. Well, like I said earlier, when I just do a search on City of New Brunswick Environmental Commission, the first link is to the city council site where you're seeing all this antiquated information and data. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's a
And
work in progress, but those are things we should bring to
Yes, so
Lisa's
there
attention.
is,
Susan,
there are a lot
Susan's
of,
attention.
yeah, there are a lot of, forgive my French, turds lying around that I've had words with the city about, where if you use Google search or I'm sure other search engines, you end up on pages that they shouldn't be there. And I've asked them to remove them, and what they do is correct them and leave them there, which means that it's going to happen again, So,
Well, maybe there are other reasons why things have to be. I don't know if there are requirements that the city council. I can't imagine that there are requirements about a website, but maybe information is supposed to be provided, and perhaps it could just be a link
Like
to
archive.
our page as opposed to copies of things that we have on our
I'm
site.
going to bet that some of this
Right.
is just limited skill set. Okay. Oh, I just noticed because I've been sharing my screen and not looking at this, that we have another guest, Sarah Campbell. Hello, Sarah.
Stella Campbell.
Stella. Hi, Stella. So, okay. So, Josh, I think this is great. I think this is, a big improvement. Basically, getting rid of, if we get rid of a lot of the junk that's on there and very misleading and confusing, I think we're ahead of the game. So, and I think
Stella's microphone's not
you know.
working, just so everyone knows.
What's that?
Stella's microphone is not working.
I
She
see.
just sent a message saying my microphone's not working.
Oh, where's chat on this? Hold on a second. Is this chat? Chat. I see. Wow. Okay. Yes, I see your message now. Okay. So, what's the next step, Josh? I don't know about everybody else, but I think this is, progress. This is great.
Well, I think it's great. I think you did a great job, Josh. This is not easy to synthesize. So, thank you.
So what I think is needed is we need more content. And that means, I will provide some of that. Some of that's on me because I need to update the stuff on the pollinator garden, and I need to provide stuff on the stormwater project. Somewhere on here was plastic. There was a page about plastics, and there's stuff like that. I thought that we had somebody own that. Erin, was that you or was that Patrick that said they were gonna do something with the plastic stuff?
I think you're thinking of me, perhaps. I was going to
Was that
talk
you?
to some of the. Well, I was going to talk to. Yeah, I was going to talk to some of the. I don't know what you would call them. Restaurants, convenience stores that have prepared products that they sell that are in plastic containers that are not recyclable within this county.
We're talking who's going to
Like
own
Fives.
the website, Glenn.
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
We're talking about ownership of the content on the website.
Right. No, I think Anne, you were saying there was some concept about we're going to do something about plastics. Who was the one that said?
No.
that?
I was talking about content on the website. That it's like I would really like it if people would sort of take areas and say, I'll stay on top of this. And when we have something to say, you'll write it. And I mean, I think that we still need somebody to gate this. Susan is not going to. We have to go through Susan and or Bert to get anything on the website. And they're not
Yes.
going to want to deal with all of us. So I think that we have Josh and maybe Denise was mentioned by Susan as the people to go through, right? But they're not going to be responsible for producing all the content. I think that the group of us need to do that. Feed Josh and Susan. I mean, Josh and Denise. Denise, is that right? Is it just Josh? Is it Josh and you, Denise?
I think it might be both of us. We've been talking about this, but I could certainly ask someone else, but I'm happy to do it.
Okay. So
certainly-
I think the deal is that they are the gatekeepers from our team to Susan and or Bert. And I think I want to make an exception. The exception is that Erin, who is our secretary, takes care of the meeting agenda and the meeting minutes. And that happens every month, and that has its own life. And that shouldn't need to go through this process. Okay? Do we agree on that? I mean, let's just talk process here.
Yep.
Agreed.
Yes, that makes sense. And
Okay.
if I just to wrap this up, perhaps next steps, getting back to that question, is I'll send this out to everybody so people can take a little more time and review the content. And maybe at the next meeting we can decide what's missing and each take a section that could be added in the future. The reason I suggested that way is at least we can get started on the bare bones here that's available, and then we can add those other sections as they're available and build it out. Hopefully in a few months have something much more complete.
that sounds great. Is that
Perfect.
agreeable to everybody else?
Agreed.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, very nice. And I know I owe you stuff. I said I would get it to you, and I will, but now I have a month. Actually, it's probably not a month. So you should give us what works because you're putting all of this together for these meetings. When do you need stuff from us? You don't have to tell us now, but when you send stuff out, Josh, give us a deadline. Okay.
Will do.
All right. Thank you. I mean, this is great. I'm very pleased. It's really nice to see this. This is progress, and progress is needed. So, is that it for the web pages? Is that what we have? Anybody want to talk about this some more? Okay. So I want to go back one little bit. One of the things that I have been really kind of had a lot of problems with is that there are too many places where our meeting schedule appears and the instructions for it, and they don't all get updated when we get a change. And one of the things I think Josh has effectively dealt with is to say there is one true place for this. I just found another one. But that's where I think I'd really like there to be one version that's the authoritative version, and that's it. And when it gets updated, it's fixed. Because I keep finding these, it's like, what's this? Where did this come from? Right? So, all right, that said, I think we're good. I'm going to move on. The pollinator garden. I showed you my pretty picture. I have to take more pictures. There really weren't. I have gone there a couple of times walking the dog, and it was full of butterflies. And of course, today when I went to take pictures, all there was a little white cabbage moth. So it wasn't interesting. I owe more pictures. If anyone else happens to walk by and takes pictures, it would be nice to get some butterflies or some stuff.
I'll send them.
It's in a funny state now. I mean, things bloom, and a couple of weeks ago it was really pretty, and I didn't take pictures. We had a lot of the Liatris was blooming. I had the Heliopsis has been going gangbusters all summer. It's not the biggest. Those yellow flowers that I had a picture of, they're not the biggest, luscious. They're called false sunflowers. They're not sunflowers, but that's what they're called. They had a wild infestation this year of aphids, and I didn't do anything because I did the research, and it says they can take it. They'll be fine, and they're fine, right? I mean, they just kind of weathered the storm. It set them back a little bit, but anyway, in a month or in a couple of weeks, the New England asters will be in bloom, and they're doing really well. They're purple. The blue mist flowers, those sort of fluffy little blue flowers. I have a picture of them. They're starting to bloom now. So the garden has not needed water once this year, not once. So all that torture and pain and suffering we went through for the last 2 years may be over. I think things are finally established enough. It's getting very weedy. The path itself really needs weeding. And I owe a volunteer. A couple of people have said they wanted to volunteer, and I've been running around too much to meet with them. But I can tell them that they can go and weed the path anytime. So
I volunteer and I try to coordinate with you, but just tell me how to get in, because I see zip ties on the
Say
post.
that? Yes, you just. You just
volunteered.
lift the. I can show you. It's very, very high tech.
Yeah, I've been trying to get together with you, is all I'm saying, and we haven't had a chance to. So you just lift the post. Is that what you're saying?
Now the post there's two little round wires. One's a zip tie and one is a piece of wire that hold the top of the post together. You
yes.
just pick it up and go in. Very high tech.
Okay. I
And then
know
on your
it's-
way out,
okay,
and
good. Yeah.
actually, do me a favor, when you go in, close the gate again because the bunnies get in. And the bunnies have been very
obviously.
hungry this year. All right. So if you would do that, would be wonderful. And I asked the city for water and they supplied it, and we don't need it. And I also asked the city to please come and take away those barrels because A, they're ugly, B, they're a mosquito breeding ground, and we don't need them. And could they please make them go away? And they didn't yet, so I need to remind them. And so that's where we are with that. But basically, the pollinator garden is pretty established. It could be, the design is a little odd. I mean, there are very tall things next to very short things, so it's kind of like, whatever. And next year, I think I'm going to do a little bit more pruning in the spring because things are getting very tall that if I prune them back in the, probably early June or mid-June, they would be a little thicker and a little shorter and it might look nicer. But other than that, things are doing pretty well. So that's my report on the pollinator garden. So what I owe Josh is a more current write-up because this stuff is 2 years old that's on the website, and pictures because the stuff on the website is all, an empty site. So it's definitely got flowers there, and it's got butterflies and bees buzzing around. The monardas, the purple tall flowers, those are finished for the year, but sometimes there are the seed heads that look like, it looks like a dead plant, but the seed heads attract goldfinches, among other things. So if we're lucky, we get a picture of a goldfinch, and the bees still like them. So anyway, that's it on the pollinator garden. The storm drain identification effort is for what I started, it's finished. And that's another thing I need to write up and provide to Josh for a page on the website, because I think we ought to blow our own horn about it. Thanks to Glenn and to Erin and to Erin's team of Litter Patrol, her kids, and to Patrick, who's not here, and me. We have categorized over 700 drains in the city of New Brunswick. As by type, there's 3 different types. We said there are this many of this type and this many of that type, and also noted which ones are compliant and non-compliant with state regulations. And what state regulations will do for us is 2 things. The storm drains have a set of regulations that will, 1, not kill bicyclists. And I know some of us ride our bikes around town. So the old drains had very long, thin grates that if you rode your bike over it, would trap your bike and you would fall over and it would be on the road. And that would be very bad. And there are a couple of those left, so those need to be replaced. But basically, the big thing is they let in too much trash. They let in litter. So, the ones that are not compliant, the compliant ones are compliant. And they have no more than 2 inches in a given direction of space, so that bottles and stuff like that don't flow into the drains and into the rivers and the streams. So I presented the data, and the data is ugly, but everybody did what they did. I broke up the city into a bunch of maps. Glenn took his and just did it himself. Everybody else had, had sections.
Really a good job.
And it's really nice. And
That
they
map was awesome.
walked the streets and captured every single storm drain. And everybody did the same thing with putting them on the spreadsheet. And I delivered it all to to the city engineer and I said, all right, it's ugly. It's in a million pieces and this is everything we got. What do you want me to do with it? And he said, this is great. This is fantastic. So he doesn't want anything. He's happy with what we gave him. So I'm, hats off, you guys. Great job. Really great job. I'm very pleased with it. This is step one. The city now has 5 years to fix it. It's not a small thing to fix these things. It isn't just fixing the grades that are, or the curb cuts that are not compliant. In some cases, they're going to have to redo the pipes underneath them in order to fit. So that's work and money. But tis what it is. It's really important. The state is demanding that, the state says we have to do it. So we got to do it. So I feel very much gratified with this project. I'm really proud of us, the team that did it. It's very important. And just step one. So I don't know what step two is, but I think, we now have a friend in the, his name is Anton Hajar. He's new. And the old engineer was Dan Burke. He retired. This guy is new. He's very good. He's very good. So I think, we've gotten off on the right foot with him. And Erin, I can't thank you enough for getting your kids to do that. It's so cool. It's just, they did a great job. They really did a great job. So you can help me mention names and stuff like that when I write this up. I'll circulate, a draft so we can get people's names in it and stuff like that, right?
It's a big
That's what I
effort.
have.
Let's just say that.
What's that?
It was a huge effort. Erin, it was a big effort.
It was.
Can I
It
follow
was a
up
lot.
on
Well, you
some-
did the
can I
biggest piece,
follow up
the
on
biggest
something?
single piece. So
Oh, I did? Really?
yeah,
It was like
yeah.
160
163 drains.
drains. Yeah, it's sick. Erin, can I
I
just
think
follow
that,
up on one thing
Erin's
with
whole
Erin?
team probably did as many, but they were broken up into a lot of smaller pieces. So,
Yeah, it was a
So,
solo lone wolf. I just want to follow up with one quick thing with Erin. Erin, were you able to get a chance to follow up with the street sweeping group to see if they not only
No.
incidentally?
No,
Okay.
Glenn, I was not. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I mean, it's an ongoing thing. One of the things I was mentioning to Erin is that the street sweepers should be able to get not just the grates, but the curb cut drains too, every time they go over the street. So that's once a week. So that should help us with the keeping pace with the cleaning of those drains. So
Right.
that's all. I just want to make sure that they're aware to hit those. That's all.
that's a good point. Where they can get to them. I mean, there are times that in identifying them, I had to get, here on
Can
the
we
cars.
talk to Stella for a second? She has to go, but she wants to get involved.
Sure.
She just, I think her mic is working.
I
saw
figured
the
out how to
Zoom
make it
before.
work now.
Oh, great.
And-
Welcome. Hi.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I have to
Hi.
go soon, but I'm sorry to interrupt. I just graduated from Rutgers with my degree in environmental policy. And
Excellent. Congratulations.
thank you very much. I'm back working at Rutgers now. I'm the assistant director of development for SEBS, and I'm actually on a committee with
Wow.
ANJEC. So I'm looking to get involved in more volunteer-oriented work. So I'd love to get one of your contacts to just reach out to you and see where I might be able to help in the near future.
Sure. Sure. I'll give you mine. I'll put it in the chat.
Thank
And
you.
you can reach out to me.
Stella, can I ask you, did you just start with ANJAC?
I did start just with ANJEC just a couple of months ago. Yeah, I joined this committee.
Okay. Because I'm kind of responsible for the sustainable Jersey aspect of this. So, oh, I see. So maybe we can eventually sorry. Anne just sent something. I went over your picture. Maybe we can eventually work together between the commission. I can work with you between the commission and Anjek on some of the projects and actions we want to take on.
Oh yeah, definitely. That would be great.
Why don't you send her
Yeah,
your,
eventually.
give her your email address, Glenn? Put it in
Oh,
the chat.
I won't be able
Also-
to. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'll stick my LinkedIn in the chat too. If anybody just wants to connect, send me a message.
That's good. I'm also working on the Sustainable Jersey and Green Team initiative, which I know Glenn and I need to talk a little bit further about because I'm not sure where we miscommunicated, but we're both working on that project, and that's something that really could use some extra hands and extra eyes. So we'd
Yeah.
love to see involvement.
Absolutely.
Susan
And I
mentioned
don't,
that.
Well,
Yeah,
Susan mentioned
but
that,
I
Denise,
would-
and I wasn't quite sure because Anne had assigned it to me. So last meeting, but if you want to work together, that's great.
Yeah,
But
let's let
I wasn't
Stella-
aware that you.
Let's let Stella go, and this way, and then because I
Oh,
have
she can go.
notes to go over.
Oh,
Yep.
thank you guys so much. I look
Bye,
forward
Stella. Take
to chatting with you guys some more. Have a great night.
Right, you too.
Take care. Thanks for
Have a good
joining
one.
us. Great. Okay, let me just, quick, you're on the agenda next, both Glenn and Denise, but let me just do the gas-powered leaf blowers in neighboring communities thing. I got sucked into a meeting called by the bunch of people from Edison, the environmental commissioners and stuff like that. And also involved were Highland Park, North Brunswick, and somebody else, I forget. And they are trying to get something together with manufacturers to come and demo the sort of green landscaping equipment in a park. They want to, it's basically a free advertising for these, they won't do it unless they get at least 5 companies, and it's like Toro and Black & Decker and Ego and the main brands. And their strategy is saying that their point is you got to get public support before you can aim at trying to get the city to do pass an ordinance against these things or do something more heavy duty. So they're going after homeowners first. And I told them, we don't have a lot of landscaping in New Brunswick. We're a much more urban community than most of those towns are. But that, we would participate, but I didn't really want to, I wasn't going to own it. And this is probably, the event is probably going to be next April. And it looks like it'll be in a park in Edison, which makes sense. They'll get more homeowners than if we did it in New Brunswick. So I am going along for the ride. Anyone who's interested is more than welcome to join and go to these meetings. I think they're once a month. They're going to be once a month. The people are very nice. And they're, sort of kindred spirits. So that's where it is with that. I don't have, I gave them our flyer, which was better than nothing. So they have started to, it's something to use. The other thing is that of note is Highland Park, which is a fairly enlightened community in terms of its effect. The environmental concern is very much shared by their mayor. So he has already committed to replacing the city's landscaping equipment as it ages out with electric equipment, which is very nice. I mean, I think that's the best we could hope for here. I don't think if I approach Sal with this, I'd get anywhere. So I don't know. I think that, we've got to go slow with this and more education and not so much I think it'll fall on deaf ears if I try and get an ordinance at this point. So that's where I am with that. If nobody has any comments, I'm going to move on. So next up is bike lane improvements and maps. I think Glenn, that was yours.
Yeah, I finally spoke with Tom. I didn't realize he was in charge of 3 departments within the city, but
Yeah.
Tom Valenti, yeah, head of engineering. But it was fast. But he said that they're looking forward to redoing some of these streets, but if there's anything in particular that we want him to focus on, we need to forward that information to him. So for example, Aaron, if you wanted to get Sudam done, then we just let him know that's the street we want him to do, and any others, and he will do his best to get to those. And they subcontract that out. So it has nothing to do with the DPW engineering thing. Engineering gets the information, they approve it, it's a budget, they subcontract it out, they have some contractor come in and do the painting. So
In your talks
it's
with
not
him,
just
would
us.
you ask?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So
Yeah, I would love it if we could get a bike lane on Easton Avenue. It's really treacherous.
It's a county road.
I know.
that's a really tough one too. It's rather
It's,
narrow.
how about along the park? I mean, anyway, all right.
Well,
I'm not gonna go on about it.
let me say this. He says it's on the agenda. It's something they want to focus on. They plan on doing some resurfacing of roads as well. So obviously there's no point in doing the upgrade to the paint job if they're going to resurface. So he has to coordinate all that. But it's in mind. It's in the works. But if there's anything specific we want refreshed, then we can let him know and he'll look at it and probably get to it. That's the bottom line. So Aaron, Sudam Street, he actually mentioned Sudam. It's funny. I don't know if I don't think you spoke with him about this, did you?
No.
Yeah, he mentioned Sudam between, I think it was Livingston and Nickel or something like that. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. So I don't know if we want to coordinate that and filter it through you, Ann, or just all of us email him what we want. But
No, I think it should go
just
through
looking
you.
for.
I mean, why don't you say that,
fair enough.
anyone who wants to get their 2 cents about upgrade in, send it to you give us a date.
Yeah, anyone who wants to get their upgrade in, send it to me by a date. There, I said it. I'll send out an email.
Tell us what date you want.
Right. I mean, that's great. That's awesome. So I will have it. I don't have one off the top. I mean, Easton Avenue drives me crazy, but I know it's a county road. I don't know. What's the process for that?
I don't know. That's a tough one, though, really. I mean, by the park, it's easy because it's very wide. But once you get between Ray and French,
Yep.
pretty narrow.
So I know I'm supposed to go over to, I do at some point, I cut over to Gildan and there's a bike lane there and that works. You could use resurfacing and I think they're going to get to that. So, but okay, whatever. I think I don't remember who was supposed to follow up on the Raritan River Festival involvement. It was probably me and I dropped the ball.
I read that. I think your comment is exactly right. What does she really want from us? I don't quite get what she would want us to do to participate in that thing. It's basically a dance down to the river, an interpretive dance.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I dropped the ball.
You want us to dance?
I'm not that interested. If somebody's interested, try and make me interested, please. I think it's a great idea if somebody else does it. So I didn't do anything. If you really want me to do something, I'll put it back on my list, but otherwise I won't.
I wouldn't know what to do.
All right, drum roll. I think this is going to take a while. So I think Denise has been doing some work to share with us. Is that all right, Denise? Can you take over on the?
Yeah, absolutely. If I can
Thank
get
you.
screen sharing capability, that would be wonderful. And Glenn, jump in at any point and you and I can certainly talk about, I apologize if I misunderstood. I was late for last month's meeting, and at the end when I came in, I think I mentioned that I had done some stuff on Sustainable Jersey, and I was happy to do that. So if it happened before I was at the meeting, I apologize. But we
Yeah,
can
I
certainly.
think Ann may have assigned it to me before you were there. That does sound right. Because I was
Okay.
talking about it with Susan, brought it up to me. I was talking with her, and then I brought it to the meeting because Susan didn't make it, and I think Ann said, "Well, you know what? Take the ball."
Okay.
So
All right. So we have, I've got a summary and I'm happy to share. So let me just figure out how to share my screen. Go to meeting. Okay. Do I want to share screen or do I want to share an application? I think I want to share a screen. Here we go. Can you see?
Yes,
Okay.
we can see.
I can't see it because it's really tiny. I don't know how to get it so that I can see the whole thing. So I'm going to go off my camera and just go to the actual document. But you can still see it, correct?
We can see it down to,
Ownership. The word
Okay.
ownership.
Well,
ownership,
that would
green
be-
team is mandatory, right?
Okay, so here is what I did a synthesis of a lot of different information that I got from a number of different places. I did some work online looking for historical announcements and articles about things that happened within New Brunswick. I looked at old versions of our website using an app that lets you go back and look at historical websites. I looked at Sustainable Jersey and Green Team and some related links that they offer on their resource links that they offer. And I also am a contributor to the Sustainable Jersey website for grant writing. And so I was able to just look at some of the funding that comes available from time to time from Sustainable Jersey. So this is my summary of all of those things. So we became certified, bronze certified in October of 2015, and that was for a 3-year period. We reapplied, which is not necessary, but you can update your application. And for whatever reason, it changed the whole application, and we got then certified from 16 to 19. Then we did the same thing in 2017, and we got certified until 2020. But then in 2020, because of the pandemic, it was right in the middle of the application process, and so a number of things happened. The Sustainable Jersey initiative got extended by a year. Then they added extensions for certain subcomponents, and then there were changes in people at the state level and in Sustainable Jersey and in the city of New Brunswick and on the Environmental Commission. And so we got an extension up through December of 2022. And at this point, our certification is lapsed due to all those reasons, but we do have an online application in progress, and there's limited new information, but some of our credentialing carries forward. Like once you get it, you've achieved it. The general process and timeline for applying, it's a point-based system for bronze or silver. Bronze is 150 points, Silver is 350 points. There are 18 categories that you can qualify, and there's all different subcategories of things that 10 points here, 5 points there. Some things are more significant than others. There are elements that renew in between. So over that application period, you are sometimes doing a look back to see if you, for instance, if the police department bought hybrid vehicles, or if we did something with energy efficient lighting, and you have to document that information. So the timeline generally every year, and again, you're doing this every 3 years, you keep your certification, but you can update at any point the subgroups, is generally sometime in late February is the first round. And you submit that, and then the Sustainable Jersey People, which is coordinated under the College of New Jersey, I believe, they get back to you on your initial application by early April. Then you get to submit adjustments by May 12th, and they get back to you by mid-June. Then you can do one final review and update of your application that's due in July, and they get comments back to you in mid-September. And at that point, you should be in compliance, or then you miss that year and you have to go to the next year. There are priority actions and regular actions in these 18 categories. It's mandatory that the city have a green team. You have to implement for bronze 2 of the 13 priority actions, and for silver 3 of the 13 priority actions. In bronze, it's 6 of 18 categories, and silver, it's 8 of 18. There is not that much of a difference between bronze and silver, so we certainly could, have a reach goal of silver with a planned goal, and this would be for 2024 because we're past the deadlines for 2023 right now. Let me stop there and see if anybody has any questions before I go down to the things that I think we need to consider and next steps.
Are you going to send this out to us in an email?
I
Okay.
am. So the points that I think we need to consider are what I realized in looking over the entire process is that it really is a city-driven process. There is a lot of information that is required that as commissioners, we or any other commission would need to be getting from the business administrator, from the police department, from another commission. The goal is to have the city actively involved in pursuing this certification. And sustainability is very broad. It's not limited to environmental. There are categories that are well beyond the work of the Environmental Commission. So one question to consider is, how will the program be instituted into city operations and or the scope of the Environmental Commission, so that the renewal process is an ongoing project and not something that repeatedly delays or lapses because we don't have all the information. I think we need to clarify the extent of support that can be expected from the city to reinvigorate the program. And that's kind of the big picture. I can certainly go over what the down further. There's a note of like what those 18 categories include. One of the things is arts programming. One of the things is animals, health and wellness. Some of it is around energy and public education. So some of this is not just in the purview of us. The green team is mandatory, and we have to, raise the issue of, will that be a subset of the environmental commission or some other commission? Is it going to become a primary responsibility of the environmental commission? And do we have the bandwidth, the expertise, the bandwidth, the interest in being lead on this? Because it would mean convening and coordinating green team efforts. And in some cities, it's part of environmental. In some cities, it's the same people or a subset of the same people. And in other cities, it's a completely independent entity. We have to have yes.
Do you want us to ask questions at the end or interject?
But you know what? If it's relevant, you can interject. I'm sensitive to the time and I wanted to kind of get through it, but feel free, Ann. Go ahead.
What is the relationship between the green team and Sustainable Jersey? As far as I can tell, green teams can exist kind of all by themselves.
They can. Sustainable Jersey is an initiative that is connected to the College of New Jersey. It's also its own nonprofit organization that has empowerment by the state. The green team is, and it can be independent, whether or not you're a Sustainable Jersey city or whether you're pursuing certification. So it's, does your city have a commitment to sustainability goals? And again, in all these 18 categories. But it's mandatory for Sustainable Jersey application, which means
Right.
that if it exists, a decision needs to be made about whether the Sustainable Jersey application process becomes part of the green team, and they involve the environmental commission in areas of our, in our purview, and involve other commissions and other city departments, or whether we want it, which it has been in the past, it's been an overlap with the environmental commission, and the environmental commission actually took lead on filling out the online application form, which I'm not sure that needs to stay that. Well, I'm sure that doesn't need to stay that way. I think we need to make some decisions about this. We have to understand what the return will be on our collective investment as commissioners and as a commission. It's a lot of data collection, and it's a lot of tracking, and that's on the full 3-year basis, because things like purchasing of vehicles, taking vehicles out of retirement, upgrading, solar panels, all that stuff happens within that period of time. So the question will be, is the city willing or able to provide a point person to coordinate the large amount of data that will need to be collected from city departments at the beginning, and then for ongoing reporting and recertification? There was a woman named Brianna. I don't know her. I saw her name on a number of different documents and meeting notices and minutes. She was working, I guess, in the mayor's office, and she was coordinating.
Yeah, she was in the mayor's office.
Yeah, and she was coordinating all of this collection and synthesizing of data. And then Heather, actually, the last time, Heather was the person who submitted or authored the application online. It wasn't clear to me who the prior people were. I don't know who else prior to that entered the information. Ownership of the green team, since it's mandatory, who is the membership and who is going to lead it? Certainly in the education section of the credentialing, what is the impact this application has, or this requirement has, on the current communication review and the updates? Josh's work and recommendations on the website, social media, public information, advocacy efforts, all that stuff that we're already working on. We need to think through, is the way we're doing it in alignment with what is required under this Sustainable Jersey program. Every year, the Sustainable Jersey application process retires certain priorities and introduces new priorities. So you need to decide if, or we need to decide if the priority actions in a given year align with the priorities of the Environmental Commission. So if they decided that it was going to be outdoor art, that might not be the right place, or tourism, or, you know, recycling, or getting businesses to do something. Like, those might not be in our priorities for the year. So here's an example. There are significant non-environmental criteria counted towards accreditation: arts and creative culture, economic and community development, purchasing, city purchasing, health, wellness, and food. So food scarcity and food insecurity. And we're going to need to know who is responsible for those areas and how would they be incorporated if we recommend to the city, to the mayor, that Environmental Commission take this on. Outside stakeholders and collaborators are allowed to have their efforts counted as part of the point system. That includes things like, New Brunswick City Center, the City Council, Rutgers, the hospitals. There could be other entities, but the caveat is that the city must have had an active role in facilitating that got done, or supported how it got done. So you can't say, oh, J&J put up more solar panels, let's count that. There has to be a clear connection that the city worked with Johnson & Johnson in that example to ask them to do it, to support them financially or policy-wise, and you need to be able to document. And the documentation process can include anything from minutes to receipts to letters of support to, procurement documents. So it's not just like, yeah, we did this. So my opinion is that ultimately we have to understand, what does the certification provide to the city and the commission beyond the stamp of approval, and potential alignment with our strategies, like our strategic priorities as a city and a commission. Do we get grant and public funding opportunities? I know that the answer to that is any Sustainable Jersey funding, and they do have funding annually. They've given out over $7 million since this program started. You must be a certified municipality to apply for some of that funding. It's not huge. They're not all huge. Some of them are as low as $2,000, $25,000. Some of them are in kind, like through PSE&G or other entities. And I did ask, and don't have an answer yet, whether there are points that you could get on grant applications to, like, federal or state entities, where you get extra points on your application if you're a Sustainable Jersey certified city. So that's kind of what I've done. I do have some next steps, but let me stop there. I know it was a lot, and I appreciate your listening. Anybody have any thoughts about that before next steps?
No, Denise, I think this is great. I mean, thank you.
Well, yeah, it is great, Denise. I wish we'll start to get together on this. This is This is great, absolutely great. And your knowledge of the program is much more in depth than mine. But I didn't know you were working on this, to be honest with you. I only found out from Susan this afternoon when she called me back to discuss the sustainable jersey. I've been trying to reach her for a couple weeks now, and she finally called me back today, and she mentioned, "Oh,
She
yes,
was on
Andy's doing some
vacation
kind
for a couple of weeks.
Right, right. Well, no, I had called her and she picked up and said, "Hey, Glenn, I'm on the other line. Can I call you back?" And that was it. But anyway, there are a couple key points I'd like to make. I think the grant money is important regardless of the amount. Now it needs to, be something that would make sense for the commission to be involved in. But the grant money is the grant money, so let's just say that that's a plus. I think one of the key aspects of this is that we need that point person in the city administration. No one knows who it's going to be. The mayor's office is going to have to appoint someone. It's certainly not Susan. Brianna's gone. She left a few years ago, actually. She was great, but she was young and she was just starting to get her stride going in the city when she left. But I think that's one of the key.
County now, but she's not involved with us.
Yes, correct. Yes, no, she works for the county. That's correct. The other thing is, I think, so first of all, the Environmental Commission can act as the green team. There's no question about that. So we want to keep that in the back of our mind, because putting together a green team is a large ask to some of the resources like Rutgers professors and things like that. So we want to kind of, if we want to go forward, if the city wants to go forward, because really it's the city's thing, but if the Environmental Commission wants to push that agenda for the city to meet the February deadline, we could assume the green team position in the interim just to get into the certification process while we build the green team itself, because it's a bit of work, and then the last thing I think is that I think it makes sense for us to, I doubt that we're going to take the lead in this, like Brianna had the lead last time, but I think it's important for us to take a look at the actions. And this was part of what Anne had asked everyone to do at the end of last meeting. Take a look at what the actions are and see if they, see if you could find things that would work for the Environmental Commission to take on. Matt was also on board with that. He thought the actions, some of them were really good. So I think it makes sense for, as a commission, for us to look at those, say, this fits with our agenda. This is something we can do. This isn't going to suck up all of our resources. And then work on those and try to compel the city to get this up and running. Because we can work on these projects. There are great ideas out there. We can work on these projects irrespective of the Sustainable Jersey program or not. Some of them are great. So that's all I would say, is that we might want to think about some of these for ourselves, and then coincidentally they might be good things to get us into the certification program for Sustainable Jersey once the city gets the spearhead in place.
Right.
Right now, exactly.
And I think you make a really good point that we should look at the items that are specific to the Environmental Commission and say, here's what we know we can do as a commission.
And
here are the other things that really need to be divvied up to other commissions, or, this can be as prestigious or as functional as the city wants it to be. I mean, if they really want to be a leader in the I will tell you, I was very surprised. There is no level at the county. There is no one at the county level that is doing a lot of this stuff. It's very silent. And so it seems to be not a big initiative of Middlesex County, but maybe we can, we're the county seat, maybe we can be a leader in that. I did put a link in the chat to the the brochure that has all the categories, and you'll see how broad it is, how beyond what we're responsible for. But I do want to just, my last two steps were, I spoke to someone at Sustainable Jersey, and I had a senior person get back to me, and she has agreed to attend our September meeting to review the program with us, clarify the process, provide guidance on best practices to apply and manage the program, and respond to any questions that we might have. Her name is Samantha McGraw, and
Oh, yeah.
she's on board already.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna send this document out to everyone and ask you to look at what's written, make your own questions, look at the website. I'll put a link to both the regular website and the brochure you have. And then the after that meeting, probably not till the October meeting, I think we're going to need to do a letter to Mayor Cahill based on what we think our recommendations or what we want to suggest to him. And that's will be entirely up to him. But my recommendation is that this is a way to do our due diligence and on behalf of the city, really synthesize what this process and opportunity holds for New Brunswick.
Right. And once we get some projects in line, I think, irrespective of the city's desire to participate in this program, it's a good idea to do some of these projects. They're really, really great ideas. So. And then we should promote the fact that we are the county seat when in the September meeting, so we can bring her on board. And that name is familiar to me, by the way. So.
Yeah, I guess we should decide if there's anybody else we want to invite to the meeting from the city, just to have their hands, their opportunity to put their hands on it a little bit. And I see Josh has his hand waving to us a question. So I'll ask you, Josh, what's up?
Yeah, Denise, this is amazing. Thank you. What really strikes me, and I know I brought this up at the last meeting, is that there's a lot of unknowns here, and I'd be most cautious about making sure that we understand the ROI here, and also understanding like what it would actually take for us to assume the role of green team and to take this on before we move forward. It would be really important for us to have clear definitions of what the city's willing to do, as you said, what input we can expect, or what point person, as Glenn said, from the city, what they would be responsible for, and ultimately what we would be responsible for before we make this like a priority of the environmental commission itself.
Yeah, I think we need to find out whether the city would even be on board. The only reason I suggested the Environmental Commission assume the role of the full green team is just to get us in the door in February. If we want to do this, we can always back out. It's not like we're committed to anything. But then we have the time while we're certifying to get a full-fledged green team in place. That's the deal there. That's the idea. And
Yeah.
Pardon me, the return, Josh brought up this last time, which is a good question. The return on investment is, I think, if we filter through these action items and find ones that are in line with our agenda and also Sustainable Jersey Program's agenda, then we can kill two birds with one stone, do things that are good for the Environmental Commission to do for the city, and also that would work within the program. And, and then the grant money is the next thing, what we would get possibly.
Right. What else? Yeah, that's one of the unknown questions I want to make sure we ask. The other thing is that I know there was a green team appointed, and there were people on it when just before COVID came and the pandemic and things shut down.
Right.
So there needs to be some coordination back to the people that think they're on or committed to being on. Who I don't know who's chairing that. I do have notes somewhere, but I didn't put it in this document. So we can certainly get that information. We don't want to just, summarily dismiss people, but it seems like we haven't been back to them in a while, and they're probably thinking it doesn't, you know, it's not in existence. So we should be
Excuse me,
respectful.
Denise. Did you get the list from Susan? Because I sent it out.
Uh,
The list of the green team members.
I might have, Glenn. I think I
Okay.
saw it. I think I saw it in a newspaper article, but if you could send it out again, that would be wonderful.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. Susan sent me the list of the people and that were on the green team prior to COVID, and then everything fell apart after that, obviously. So yes, that's a good idea. We should.
Yeah,
But we may
want
need to. You know, one of the things about forming a green team is you want subject matter experts. So it's good to figure out what programs you want to implement, and then bring in the people that can give you advice and counsel and take you through
Well,
achieving.
I'll give you an example. When I was researching this, one of the categories is health and wellness initiatives and whether they align with a healthy communities initiative that the state has. And I drilled down a little bit and went on our website and put in the mayor's wellness campaign. And we have one, and we have a page, and it qualifies, and there's things there that count as the points for like outdoor health and wellness classes. And so there are things that I didn't even know that we had. So that's a really important point. We need to do like an assessment.
Yeah, that's great. One that I found is a drug drop-off location. And
Yes.
I immediately looked into it. I actually called Robert Wood and St. Peter's, and I was like, look, do you guys have any place where people can drop off their expired prescription drugs? Because one of the things that happens is it enters the water stream if people flush it, or if you throw it out in the garbage. Either way, it's not good. And then of course there are the drugs
Right.
that people drop off. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but we do have
We do have that.
do
My
have one at
neighbor
the-
did it.
we do, Rep. We do have one at the
That's
police station.
department.
But I think it would be an interesting idea to approach the hospitals, because the first thing that popped into my mind is, well, I go to the hospital, I could drop off my expired drugs.
It's
But
at
anyway,
the
we have
police-
that program in place. We have that
It's
program
at-
in place. So there's another one.
It's at the police department, and there are legal implications,
Yeah,
I
that's
believe,
what I
for
said.
that too, because some of the
Yeah.
things are controlled substances. There's a recommendation on that. And some of these things
Yeah, I'm
that we
just-
got points for already, you have to prove again after the 3 years that they're still in place. Like, you don't keep them forever. But I guess we're not doing a good enough job of announcing that. And so that's another item that we should probably, we should toot our own horn a little bit in this city. We do a lot, and it's not always as publicized.
So under waste management, we can, Erin's got some of this already, in hand, and I'm looking at the document you sent, that has the point spreads, the actions. What's it called? Grants and resources, green team resources, right?
Right.
There's a bunch of stuff we could check off, right? So,
Yeah.
we can,
programs are already in
we can
place.
make something out of the pollinator garden. We can make something out of the stormwater project that I
Right.
did. That we
Right.
can make that fit. There's a bunch of waste management stuff in here, so we could do this, right? But I think to Josh's point, do we want to, and does the city want to? So,
The bulk of the
I think
investment's gonna
another
be on the
question
city
is, do
side.
we want to, even if the city doesn't, do we want to be a green team? And
That's a
I
different
actually, one more question. Denise, do you know if any of the towns nearby are sustainable New Jersey towns?
Well, they actually
I
have a
think-
map.
Yeah, I think Highland Park is. I actually think, and
Yes.
Franklin.
East Brunswick. East Brunswick is one. All
All
around
right,
us.
so
There's a
Tina,
map.
I know is head of the green team, so she's, the one that I know her from, she's been here a couple of times. So, I can talk to her some more about that. I know that Highland Park is a very different community than ours. It's tiny and, they have a lot more support from their mayor for these green efforts, but,
Well, we probably, at least as a courtesy, need to go to whoever the chair was of the green team and have a conversation with them. You probably as the chair, or maybe we just ask the city who should be contacting that person. Like, let's get through the September meeting, in my opinion, and decide after that what we want to ask the mayor. That would be my thought, but we could certainly reach out to Green Team in advance and maybe ask specific questions about that of Samantha.
wait a second. I thought we were, I'm, maybe I'm confused. We're gonna invite Samantha to their next meeting, right?
Yep.
Do we need to give her an agenda or do we need to?
I've already
Or she-
shared with her what's written under next steps, what we want her to go over. I know they have some standard PowerPoint presentations.
Okay,
She said if there are any questions in particular we want her to be prepared to answer, that we should let her know ahead of time. So that's in my email to you with this document. I'm going to ask if you could get me information in the next few days, maybe the next week, so that I can give her time to prep.
okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah. So, this, under the energy stuff, I'm realizing that, and I know that the city did something, but that woman that came and asked us for backing, right?
The solar
doing
program
the-
woman?
Yeah.
Right.
I think the city has already gone ahead with that, and they need multiple suppliers in order to make this work,
Work.
right? So I feel like we dropped the ball on that. I thought that Matt said that he was going to connect her with the housing authority, which made sense. But Matt's not here to ask about that.
I'd be
Mhm.
surprised if everyone hasn't received a mailing from them. I received several. Well, maybe if you don't own a home.
Maybe if you don't know, yeah, that might be. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on this? I know we're close to over on time or.
No,
coming
we
up
have
on-
15 minutes. It's 7 to 9.
Okay.
So, and you're the last on the agenda. So,
I have one new business item that, when you get to that, it's very quick.
okay, so let's just get clear. What are we doing in preparation for next meeting and getting Samantha? You're inviting her? Do we need
I've
to do
invited
something?
her already. She's agreed.
Excellent. Okay.
The only thing I suggest is I think everyone should look at the actions and see if they find some things that we could do, regardless of whether it's part of the whether the city takes the ball or not, and just whether we participate in Sustainable Jersey or not. And then if it coincides with it, then all the better. The city does pick up the ball. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we could certainly get us to bronze level again. But again, and what would that buy us? It would be a lot of work, and there we are with a bronze sticker on our,
I don't know how much work.
on our
it is.
website. It looks at, right?
There
I don't
was
see that it's a lot
clear,
of work, but
there clearly was authorization or direction that the mayor gave to people on his staff to respond to questions that were being asked and information that needed to be provided to upload into the portal. You know, Denise Zimmer is not going to call the police department director and say, can you send me the certificate of title to your
Right.
energy efficient cars? You know, or can you send me a receipt for the solar panels you put on such and such a building? Like,
Right.
that has to be authorized, and someone has to be empowered. And I really do think someone within the city will end up being it'll be a more efficient process. That's my
I think
opinion.
one of the things we need to do is not think of this as an environmental commission thing. It's really not. It's a city thing, and the environmental commission can be a component and, you know, resource for some of these things, but it's not our responsibility. We wouldn't be doing all that work except for the things we take on that we, you know, might want to plug into that program. But
Right. Completely agree. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Denise, this is great. Thank you. So you're going to
You're
send out that document. You already sent out this link. Can you add that to the document? Because
I
it's
will.
helpful.
I'll send the link to that, the link to the website, and this document, and just ask if anybody has any questions in addition to what is on the document. We'll just be prepared for Samantha, so her time is used well.
Okay, so how much time are we going to give her? Just so I know when I put the agenda together.
I'm open to that. I can tell her, you know, because she said if anything came up after tonight's meeting, let her know.
Mhm.
You think a 10-minute presentation and 10 minutes for questions and answers is too much? Too little?
No, I think it's very big. I think it's, you know, I think it will require at least that. So, yeah, 20 minutes, half Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a great idea. I think Denise, you brought it up. If uh, I'd be willing to reach out to Clary to say, hey, you know, where are you with this? And is there anyone that might be able to join that meeting from the city side? Because that, you know, Samantha's going to do a whole presentation. I don't think anyone over there is really familiar with this, or at least they might not recall, because a lot of the people that were in the administration prior to COVID are no longer there, you know?
Correct.
And yeah, so we might want to find out if they want to participate in this so they can start, you know, their process.
Right.
I'd be happy to do that unless someone else wants to do it. And you know,
Now, who are you going to reach out to? I missed that. I couldn't hear you.
Claribel, she's basically the city manager in the mayor's office, basically. I don't know. In talking to Susan, I'm not sure if it would be under what they consider administration or the mayor's office, which are two separate concepts. The administration's under the city manager, and then there are people in the mayor's office. Now, Brianna was in the mayor's office. She worked with the PIO initially, and then she was working in the mayor's office proper with Judy. So I think it was under the mayor's office, but we don't know, and they might not even remember. I could say sustainable living and they'll go, what? So
You
I'll
know,
look into it if unless someone else wants to do it.
I'm almost second guessing myself. I'm wondering if I don't want the mayor's office represented to feel like they have to have all the answers. Like if this is fact finding, maybe we need to, I don't know. I feel like we need to involve, I have to think about whether I feel like we don't want someone to come in feeling like they have to have answers and make decisions. This is exploratory fact finding, and then we're gonna recommend back to the administration. So maybe I'm second guessing what I said earlier. I appreciate.
I would try to steer you back to your original thought, because I think and I would, present it this way. It's just to learn about the program. That's what this session is really about. So we have a better understanding and can get some of our questions answered. It's not to have someone from the city that we expect something from. I mean, there's no one in the city right now that would be able to field any questions or has any understanding about sustainable Jersey, as far as I know. So I think just like what it's going to do for us, it would do it for them. And they might not even have anybody, by the way.
I'm wondering if
They might
that
not
should
be
be the
prepared.
same meeting or two separate meetings.
Well, we wouldn't want Samantha to have to come back twice. That's the only reason I'm suggesting.
Yeah, but we may not want to put somebody on the,
Look,
On the
I
spot.
don't see
Maybe-
that, but that's fine. It's up to you
Maybe
guys.
we can ask, I hate to put Erin
I don't
on the
see that
spot,
being
but
an
maybe
issue.
we can ask Erin to, if you think, Erin, you would feel comfortable summarizing back to the city, if we write something up, if necessary, from an internal perspective, or do you think there's a different or better person, like Dan Dominguez or someone, I don't know who,
I think ultimately this is going to go through the mayor's office like it did last time.
Yeah, I have to
So
agree
I would
that it's
suggest,
supposed to come through the mayor's office too. Yeah.
so I would suggest I just reach out to Clary and ask her what she thinks and see if she has any concepts. She might not even know this is going on. And maybe she can talk to Susan and find out a little bit more about it on that end and say, look, Glenn, we're not ready yet. We don't have anybody. Or say, you know what? We thought about it and maybe this person would be good. And yeah, maybe they should join in to find out about the program themselves. They don't know anything
yeah,
either.
I guess. I mean,
I'm
the other
just saying, I don't see an issue here, but whatever.
the other person that, well, when we worked on the dog park, I feel like we put the city in a position where they felt like they had to come in with answers and decisions about the topic we were talking about. And we're not at that point yet. So that's my point, is that
Well,
I want, but it's
you
majority
guys
rule
decide.
here. The other person that I think has some involvement with this is the business administrator's office, like the assistant business administrator who handles procurement things would be a good point person. That's Brandon, would be a good point person on some of the purchases, and knows kind of what's going on in, like, more broadly. But that's just my assessment of that role. I don't know.
You know who I think would be
Brandon?
great for this?
I do
Go
know
ahead,
Brandon.
Aaron, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say the question is if the September meeting is like, I know we're going back to the point that you
Yes.
made, that do we want someone from the city at the September meeting for the Sustainable Jersey representative? You know what I mean? And regardless of who reaches out, that's the question that we're asking right now.
Well, I think if we're going to get generally informed about the program, and Samantha's going to do that in September, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think
What better
someone
time?
from the city should be there. You know what I mean?
I
So if
agree.
it's someone from the mayor's office, if it's Brandon, we need to decide.
Aaron, do you know Jennifer Bradshaw? I think she would be perfect for this. She used to be the PIO.
I feel like she has way too much on her plate to take this on.
That's
She
true,
works in
but
personnel now.
yeah,
I don't
everyone
think
does,
she
just
wants
like
to take
you.
this on.
No, everyone does. No, I'm not saying her, but that type of person, someone who has a broad perspective within the city, the administration. She knew everything that was going on, so she had her hand in a lot of pies.
Yeah, she doesn't have time.
But
for
I
it.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know who it would be, but
Well,
up
maybe,
to you
and
guys.
maybe after I send, why don't we all think about it, and I'm sending this information out, and maybe you can decide as the chair how you think you want to go forward. If you want to call Judy, maybe, ask the mayor. I know the mayor will take your calls. Like, in the end, it should be his decision, not someone else's.
Okay, I can call him and ask him if he has an interest in us moving ahead with this or not. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think
Or
this is at the mayor level, but yeah.
Come to the meeting to hear more, because we're inviting an outside guest. If he'd like to have someone there just as a show of support, and we've got our questions, and then we're going to follow up with some comments back to him after the meeting.
May I
just
make
tell,
a suggestion? Go ahead. I'm sorry, Denise.
no, go ahead.
I don't think this is at the mayor level yet. I think this is at the, what the heck is this thing city level, from the city level? What is it? Do we want to do it again? Is it something, can we devote a resource to it? Is it something, I don't think I know you're thinking, well, the mayor would find someone, but I think it's easier for someone like Clary, who's directly under the mayor, to kind of coordinate this instead of the mayor being directly involved in. He's going to say, Clary, what do you think? We'll find someone.
Well, I guess I'm just thinking, Glenn, I understand what you're saying, and I'm in agreement about it's not necessarily at the mayor's level, but we're making an assumption that he would want Clary to be the person we ask. And I'm not sure. There's a green team person that's a chair. Like, there's some stuff that's happened in the past. None of those people are around anymore. So
Right.
I don't know that we should have the authority to decide who we think, unless it's a question to her to go back to the mayor. Erin, you know more about the
Yeah,
process.
that's exactly it. That's exactly it. I'm going to give it to the city and say, hey, what do you think? I'm looking for Clary to join. In fact, I said Jennifer Bradshaw would be great. Not saying her in particular, but someone like her would be great. That's all. I just want you guys take it. It's I just wanted to bring it to their attention that we're having a meeting that's with someone who's going to present the concept. That's all. And do you want to find out about it? It's straightforward. Either way.
Right.
I don't see the
Glenn,
issue,
for what it's
but
worth,
whatever.
I wouldn't be asking the mayor to commit to anything. If I called him, it would be simply to say, hey, we're thinking about this. Do you
No.
want to tell me
No one's
not to
saying
right
commit.
now? Or,
Yeah.
you want to have somebody join
I
us?
think you guys are complicating this. Yeah, that's what I was going to do with Clary. That's all.
All right. Do you know Clary? Is that the way you're talking about it is that this is
I know
somebody
the mayor. I mean, I've had meetings in the mayor's office. I know the mayor. I know Judy. I know Clary. I know everybody there. So, but Clary's the person who, when you want to get something done in the mayor's office, Clary's the person to go to. She's like the city
And what's
manager.
Clary's job title?
Yeah, I don't know. She does everything, actually. Erin, do you know her?
She's called management specialist.
Yeah.
She manages the
But she's the
mayor's
direct.
schedule. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but she's the interface to the mayor for everyone, right? That's the way I see her.
All right.
Well,
And Brandon is in charge of procurement,
Not
right?
Judy. Judy's more administrative.
But she also handles a lot of the mayor's correspondence and communication. She's like the filter.
For example, well, Judy does that.
Right.
Well, for example, during the last Democratic committee member meeting, it was brought up that if you want to have, after the election, if you want to reach out to city agencies to get things addressed in your district, you can reach out to this person, that person, and Clary was one of the people. So that's, I don't think it's going to be an issue. I know her very well. It's up to you guys. I'm giving up, actually. I don't want to argue this cause anymore. It's not worth it. It's really straightforward. That's all.
All right,
And
look,
you're
right
the
now
chair.
I don't feel like I'm getting very impatient to get off the phone more than I'm into this. Why don't I schedule a call with Glenn and Denise and we'll work this through? Okay. Is anybody
Sounds
else
good.
interested? Is that okay? Let me just follow up with the two of you.
Works for me.
Yeah?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
works for me. Anne, are you
All
ready?
right, so just quick question. Is this something that we should do morning, noon, or, morning, afternoon, or evening? Just give me that and I'll figure something out.
For me,
I'm
it would
good.
be have to be after. It would
Go
have
ahead.
to be after 4
Works for me.
or
Okay.
weekend, anytime.
Yeah. And you're going on vacation, right, Anne?
I am going on vacation tomorrow, but I can get on a call. So,
Okay. Yeah. So
I
after,
don't think this is a big call. This is just, walk me through this because I'm getting very distracted and I don't know what where we're
Okay.
headed with this. All right.
Okay.
So, is that good?
Works for me.
All right. Listen, I appreciate this. This is a lot of information and it's very good. And I think that, yes, go ahead and get Samantha to come to our next meeting and we'll figure out what we're going to do with, somebody from the city on a follow-up. Hold on. Where's the agenda? Charlie, are you
And-
still here? Do you have any comments? Okay.
Thanks,
Okay,
Charlie.
great.
And
Anne,
I
you
have
need to-
one more quick thing.
I have something quick too, real quick. We still need
Go
to
ahead.
approve the July minutes.
Oh, shoot, I'm sorry. I just went sailing right through that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I move we approve
Um,
the.
There you
What's
go.
that?
I said I move we approve the July minutes.
I second the motion.
I'll second. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Done.
Unanimous.
Thank you very much, Aaron, for keeping me honest. I just sailed right over that. I
Thank you.
apologize.
Sorry. We're good. I got it.
Okay, so our next meeting is Monday, September 18th, same time, same station. And my action item, I owe Josh a bunch of stuff, and Josh, I need a deadline, and I will set up a quick call between Denise and Glenn and me to follow up on this open question about what to do about a city rep for this for the green team meeting. I'm also going to I can talk to Tina. I mean, I talk to her anyway and just ask her for smarts about the green team, which because she's on it. She's the lead in Highland Park. And I know it's very different than us. But,
Mhm. Right. Can I this is not really agenda. It's not on the agenda. I sent out the photos of the pollinator garden. I took a lot. There's a couple of butterflies, a couple of bees, some far away, but there's another photo in there. Josh and I happened to see on Route 18 going towards in Old Bridge, going south and north on Route 18. There are pollinator garden signs in these open spaces that don't say who put them up, don't say why they're there, but they say pollinator, not even garden, pollinator something. And I sent a picture of that. It's great. And I would love to have that on the agenda next time we talk about, our next steps with pollinator garden projects. There's a
sure,
picture.
I mean, that's a much better way to do things than to have a little garden. I mean, to have a zone is, that's
Very cool. Yeah.
yeah, it's very cool. And it would be also very nice if we could get the Parks Department to stop using neonics for, as pesticides and, stuff like that. And that's a big effort. And I'm all for it. If people are interested, I could take that up again. I just felt like I was whistling in the wind. So, but thank you for those photographs. And that's what we need. I think we can put some of those on the web. So
Okay.
they're gorgeous. They're really nice. Thank you. I just looked at them.
Oh, great. Thank you.
So, okay. So then maybe I don't have to go out and take more pictures. What I need to do is just write something, right, Josh? We can probably make something out of those pictures. Sounds good. Okay. Anything else?
No, not me.
What's with, I haven't heard from either Matt or from Patrick about why they're not here. It's like, I miss them. I'm gonna go pound on them and say, why didn't you call? Okay.
I'll include them in what I send out anyway. We should do that.
Yeah, I'll send it to everybody. Great. All right,
All right.
everybody. It's 6 minutes after 9. I'm gonna call this. All
Terrific.
right, thank you all.
All right, thank
Okay.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.